We have shifted from a very boring market, which was an office market for decades in France. This has changed now. We are seeing many asset classes that are attracting capital. There's a transversal approach. You need to take into account many factors: ESG factors, regulatory issues, tax issues, legal issues. And if you're investing into operational real estate, there's the operational part that needs also to be taken into account.
Benjamin, thank you very much for being here today. We're just having a conversation. How many people you know, how much you know about the market, and I'm looking forward to our conversation here. We're in Paris, 700 people here at the Europe GRI. Fantastic event, a lot of conversations in a different mood. But before we go there, can you tell more people about CMS and explain why the GRI has chosen CMS to be one of our key partners globally?
The GRI Europe has a very special place in my agenda. So thank you very much for that. It's a very international event and we appreciate that. What we try to do at CMS, and maybe this is one of our selling points, to put it that way, is that we have an extremely strong local knowledge and expertise that has always a view on international situations and investments. And I think in that, this very strong local capacity with an international touch and view brings us very well together with the GRI, which tries to do precisely the same and to get the best people locally together in one spot to exchange very openly. So I think it's a perfect match.
Now, can you tell us here, what's your perspective in general? What is the general atmosphere that you felt at the event? Are we more positive, negative, neutral? When you talk to these big investors here that are your clients, your colleagues, what would they say?
Well, first of all, I think for several years now, everyone has agreed that we are in a cycle where we need to be prudent and thoughtful about what kind of deals we're doing. This is due to maybe more difficulty in financing, more regulatory restrictions, ESG objectives to be obtained, and a change in shift of the behavior of the population, which are at the end of the day consumers. So taking into account all these factors, maybe adding a bit of instability in politics in some country, the players, the clients that I meet and that I talk to, because I think that is how we learn. We have to debate, we have to listen to what specialists and real experts have to share from their experience and from the best case and worst case scenarios that they're living and implementing in their respective countries. That is what interests me personally, to understand where they come from and why they are doing this specific transaction, and what they're thinking about that to achieve. From the general atmosphere, I think that we are in a very responsible industry that has a robust knowledge and that has a rather optimistic view in the years to come. We know what we can do. We absorbed very key items like ESG, like change of shift of behavior of the consumers, which has an effect on retail, on warehouses, etc. E-commerce has changed a lot. Home office, a lot of sectors are in a shift. And what we are doing here is that we're trying to understand what people expect from that shift and where this could lead us all together.
I know you, behind the scenes here, you told me about some of the transactions. The market's quite interesting. You have been involved in some large transactions here. What kind of trends have you seen in the market?
I can speak mainly for France, as I'm a partner of the French CMS team. We have shifted from a very boring market, which was an office market for decades in France. This has changed now. We are seeing many asset classes that are attracting capital. We have seen, and this is quite interesting, the two largest transactions of the market this year. There was one which was an office transaction, very, very large office transaction that was around 700 million euros. And on the other hand, you had a PBSA transaction, which is a totally different type of asset, but this also attracted around 600 million euros of capital. So what we see is that investors broadening their view are looking at many asset classes and are not focused on one, but rather flexible, makes it interesting for all the players because a developer needs to react to the new needs. Do I need to build more PBSA? Do I need more residential? Do I need more warehouses, etc.? So all of that is a very interesting shifting point in our industry. Yeah.
Which makes it healthier, I suppose, an industry that's not just too much focus on one single asset class. And one of the things that we have been talking here is that beginning of the year, everybody was talking about the US. The international capital was going to the US. And now we are here in September and we see, at least we hear in the room here, that a lot of international capital is actually looking at Europe now. Do you sense that as well in the transactions that you have been assisting, in the inquiries you have? Do you confirm that?
What we have noticed is that there's a very strong interest throughout the international players for the continent, and in particular for some countries like France, but also Spain and in Italy or Poland. We have seen a lot of interest for those countries. This leads to the fact that when you're a service provider like I am, and in particular a lawyer, you need to understand the needs of your client, which are based abroad and which would need to, in a certain way, downstream the money from wherever they are to France, so that there's a higher need for understanding the various regulatory issues. Secondly, a high need for tax and legal structuring. And thirdly, they rely really on us on a very strong local expertise. I think these are the various factors that today play a big role for us that we cannot, as lawyers, but I think as a market player in general, we cannot stay focused only on our jurisdictions and our country, but we need to understand the expectations and the needs of international investors to come to our country.
Now, I want to ask a question that's not really here, but something that I hear sometimes in Abu Dhabi or in other markets, a lot of interest from the Middle East in assets here in France, right? We're just talking about how many hotels here in the regions, in central Paris have been acquired by such a capital and so on. You deal with a lot of those foreign investors entering the market. Someone watching us and is considering entering France. What kind of suggestions could you give to make sure that they get it right at first entry point?
France is, like many continental European countries, a highly regulated country. So, which means that there's a transversal approach. You need to take into account many factors: ESG factors, regulatory issues, tax issues, legal issues. And if you're investing into operational real estate, there's the operational part that needs also to be taken into account. So on top of the economics and the financial issues, we have highly regulated countries. What foreign investors need to understand is that development projects take time and are very often coordinated with a local authority. So there's a part of the public authorities that need to be taken into consideration. But apart from that, I would say that France is a very open country. We have, regarding foreign direct investments, we have very, very, very few restrictions that are actually common to the European Union. We have opened up for a lot of sectors. We have worked a lot on the infrastructure of the country to include data center projects, etc. So what I would say is, be vigilant, have a good due diligence, and look at factors such as ESG, which are very, very important in France.
You have been around for quite some time. We always listen to your feedback, you and your colleagues, because every time you suggest us some stuff here at the GRI, we know that it comes from the right place. How does the GRI sets into your strategy to maintain this relationship with your clients, to meet new clients as well?
Thank you, Gustavo. That is very important. We all have a lot of work and spend a lot of time in our offices, but at the same time, we need to meet people. We need to understand the needs and expectations of our clients and other market players. So what is fundamental for me and for my CMS colleagues throughout Europe is to meet with these people and confront ideas and projects and difficulties people have in their respective jurisdictions. To understand and to exchange and debate on that is fundamental for us. So what we have looked at as a CMS corporate entity is to try and understand who would be fit as a partner. We are of the opinion that what we are looking for is the same that you're looking for, i.e., to bring together the best people to create industry standards and to improve in a more general way the quality of the real estate sector. And so I think this is a partnership that really works.